Alrighty, well, perfect. It is a gorgeous day here at the Newport Folk Festival. Welcome to Backstage with Geoffrey Morrissey. I'm your host, Geoffrey Morrissey. They say save the best for last, but this festival we're having dessert first. No offense to my other guests, but this is the band that I'm most excited to have here today, the Wild Reeds. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And would you mind just introducing yourselves to our listeners?
Sure.
I'm Sharon Silva.
I'm Mackenzie Howe.
I'm Kinsey Lee.
Nikki P.
Joni.
Wonderful. Now, you guys just had a set that was unlike anything I've ever seen. Great job. Is there anyone that you guys want to make the time to see today? Or this weekend?
I would love to see Big Thief at Shovels and Rope. We're unfortunately not going to be here Sunday, but John Prine is one of my favorites. Dr. Dog as well. We're going to miss that, but there's a bunch of people. Anyone?
Fleet Foxes and Angel Olsen.
Oh, those are going to be two great ones as well. Well, Newport is all about collaboration, sort of spontaneous performances, people just sort of hopping on stage and having some fun. Who would you guys most like to share the stage with if you could?
Fleet Foxes.
That'd be the best version of White Winter Hymnal that I could ever imagine. And then another cool thing that Newport is doing this year, they're doing sort of a tribute to protest songs, so much great protest music. What are some of your favorite protest songs, if you could think of them?
Oh, gosh. The Eve of Destruction. A couple of people have covered it. I can't remember who originally does it. And we're actually doing one tonight at one of the after parties. We're doing a Buffy St. Marie song called Little Wheels Spin and Spin. That's just about oppression
And apathy.
and how it perpetuates itself.
There we go, there we go. So you are all sort of incredibly talented musicians to begin with, and I know that a lot is made of the harmonies, and really as it should be, and that people use sort of like to say it's this cosmic connection, which I feel like doesn't account for all the work that you guys put into as a band, sort of practicing and rehearsing. But what does make this pairing work? What sort of makes all of you gel together and create a sound that's really one of a kind and awesome?
It's a mystery. We can't give it away. We can't give away our mystery.
Music is magical.
Also hard work.
Hard work? Yeah, exactly.
I would say a lot of communication, a lot of understanding what we're trying to do and communicating it properly to each other so we can gel it together.
Sometimes like over communicating too. I mean, we have like our flaws with like miscommunications, but sometimes someone will say like, "Did you get that?" And then the next two people will say the same thing, and then we really drive it home, you know.
There you go. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. So in broad terms, I read that the record, The World That We Built, is about the death of who we thought we were, which is one of the most powerful quotes I've ever sort of seen when thinking about a record. So tell me about who you were before this record and sort of like the people that you are now, if that makes sense.
That's a hard question. Ever since we started this band, we have always looked forward to evolving as naturally as possible. I mean, I can't speak for like the song, The World We Built specifically. So I feel like for us personally as a band, I think you always feel like you're so sure of yourself and you forget that we're constantly changing. That's kind of what it means to me. And I think now we're at a point where we've really accepted that we are constantly changing and just being happy with like what a song wants to be, what a performance wants to be, and what kind of people that we want to be like together collectively. Yeah.
That's awesome. That sounds great to me. And then so you guys had 3 years worth of material for this record, which is just, I can only imagine sort of having to go through that. How did you work through it and sort of narrow it down to the 11 songs, I think, that appear on the record?
We'd been touring a handful of the songs for a few years after putting out the record that came out before this one, and so we had a lot that we were like, oh, we definitely want this to go on the record. We've been playing it live for 2 years, but then we had 10 plus more songs that we'd never played live that we had just written in the last, year or so, and we'd been playing in our studio when we were home from tour. So we had to really sift through things with each other, with our producer, and sort of each make lists of ones that we liked and thought would work together, and ultimately it came down to like thematically what we felt like would go together and what songs would complement each other on a record. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect. So you guys obviously had a record before this. What were some lessons that you learned from recording that first record that you could bring to the second?
I mean, during the first record, we had only been a band, a 5-piece band for 6 months. We'd been a 3-piece band for longer than that. So we learned a lot about the recording process in general. We learned about letting songs breathe and grow before you put them down. We learned that live performance is very important to maturing music. And what else?
I would say the writing style has really shaped what the production style has become.
Yeah.
And I feel that's changed drastically between the two albums.
Then there's one song on the record specifically, Patient, that I wanted to bring up. I was sort of doing something and I just stopped as soon as I got to that chorus. It's one of the most breathtaking songs that I've heard in 2017.
Thank you.
Tell me how that song sort of came to you and just sort of like that moment, because I can only imagine the sort of emotion with it.
That song came, it was a part 2 to a song that I wrote called What I Had in Mind. And it was about a grieving process of a relationship that I had. And what I had in mind was the instant moment after it was all gone, and Patience was a little bit after that, trying to process what was going on for me.
Then you guys all sort of share the songwriting and lead vocal abilities. So how do you connect to each other's songs? Because you don't write every song on the record, if that makes sense, each person. So how do you find ways to connect to other people's lyrics and melodies and things like that?
I feel like it's really, really easy because we fall in love with each other's songs pretty quickly. We're like, I mean, I don't know, I could say this personally, but I'm like the biggest fans of their songs. So like as soon as Kinsey and I met, I was like, I will back you up anytime you want, and that's kind of how the band started. We didn't think that we could have a band with multiple singers, and it's really easy to be passionate about more recent songs as well because we've been living life together for the past few years, just touring full time. And so we've seen each other grow, we've seen each other go in and out of relationships and experience loss and experience joy. So it's really cool to feel that and then have the audience feel that. It's just unreal being able to perform these songs. Yeah.
And they certainly did today. They felt it for sure. And then so, again, 3 really dynamic vocalists that we have here, but if you could add a 4th vocalist, who would you add to the band?
This is hard. That's a really hard question because one of the cool things and hard things about our band is that we all have very different voices, where if 2 of us had really similar voices, it would be hard to even like distinguish between them. So luckily you can tell the difference, but then when we harmonize, we have to like work really hard on blending and sounding like each other. So if we could have somebody, part of me wants to pick someone from left field like Elvis. And then part of me is like, who could we get that would sort of be able to blend with us that already sings a lot of harmony? That's a really good question. I don't know. Oh, Mama Cass. We're big Mama Cass fans, and she said Mamas and the Papas were so good at harmonies. Really big range, crazy cool voice.
Mama Cass is going to be the 4th read. I like it. And then so do you guys, I know, spend a lot of time together when you're touring or recording. Anyone have any questions for each other that they want to ask, or a question for me or anything like that?
What's that smell in the back of the van?
Oh.
Not it. I have not been in the back of the van yet. But something went down last night. I don't know. Kinsey, what do you think? No.
And why are there ants?
That's true. They're ants.
Very good question. One that you might want to plead the 5th on.
Yeah.
Well, and then so I know that you guys have a really busy day. You have after parties, you have sets that you want to catch, other interviews. So I'm going to make this my second to last question. Who has your ear right now? Who are y'all listening to?
We're all listening to different people. God, I don't even have anybody in my head right now. Pass.
I keep listening to a band from LA that my friend sent me. There's 2. Kuko and Current Joys, they're local bands, and I just keep playing their record. They're really great.
There's a record by the Ghetto Brothers called Power Fuerza that's really good that I've been listening to a lot.
An artist named Jesse Woods and Kendrick Lamar, obviously. A lot of that.
Nice. Obvious.
We all started listening to that band Pine Grove. It's
Oh,
also going to be
amazing.
playing. They're insane. And I'm really looking forward to the new Randy Newman record that's going to come out.
I've been listening to this Japanese artist by the name of Cornelius that just put out a new album that's just unbelievable. A great blend of just electronic and acoustic sounds, great compositions, great stuff.
Wonderful. And the question that I'll leave you with is, y'all do so many of these interviews. What is the question that you wish you got more often, something that you wish you got to talk about a little bit more?
I like the question, like, what do you do on tour, or I don't know how to explain this.
Like
Never mind.
hobbies or weird quirky stuff, like who's the messiest? Like this is like teen pop kind of questions, I feel like. I don't know if that's what you mean, but they're so funny and like throw people like under the bus kind of.
Well, next time I promise we'll do a Tiger Beat style interview. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. They are capable, they are kind, they're really folk and talented. They are the Wild Reeds. Their album, The World We Built, is out now. They're on tour with the Lone Bellow this fall. And they've been kicking off Newport Folk with me. They're my first guests. Thank you all so much for the time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.